saying in the morning because today we're talking about mindset. And I felt like, you know, that was a good interlude. I also did something very interesting this weekend that relates to my own mindset. I actually didn't go on social media, like at all. I didn't watch the news. I didn't participate. I didn't Google. I didn't do stories. I only went into our Facebook groups just to make sure that no one's world was exploding. I answered 3 things and then I was out. I really took a break. And the reason that I did that was because I needed to formulate my own opinions and my own feelings.
Yes.
And I needed to be in my own reality, not anybody else's. I didn't need to have anybody else's reality triggering mine or making me feel any certain way. I mean, nobody can make you feel any way, but you know what I'm saying. I needed a legitimate break from all of the different energies and feelings and assumptions and I just wanted none of it. And do you know what happened?
What happened?
I had ideas.
Of your own?
I had my own ideas. I had my own creative spark. I was able to very clearly see for the first time in about a month, like the path forward. I cleaned, which also is a good substitute for showering if you need ideas. I cleaned my whole house, and the ideas started to flood. I took a step away from the work and away from social and away from the computer, and guess what happened? My mojo came back.
I love it.
That's what happens. That's what happens. And so I'm sharing this with you because if you are not in a place that you are having your own ideas, your own creativity, where you feel desperate, block out the internet. Take a step back from the work, take a step back from what is you're being told to feel and do and all of this, and go inside. As Glennon would say, you have to get to the knowing, right? You have to get to the knowing. I got to the knowing this weekend. We became friends again. It was glorious.
That is glorious.
It is glorious because I was finishing off last week not feeling the way that I would like to feel. And that is up to me. And that is what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about mindset. Yep, good segue. We are going to talk about mindset, and we are going to talk about how to shift. And Laura and I are very passionate about this topic. So it might seem to those of you who are in a not good feeling place that we're coming off as insensitive or uncaring or bitchy. We are not.
It is the opposite. It is the opposite.
It is the very opposite, but you might be in a feeling place right now where that's how you take it. So I'm just going to say flat out, that's not the intent. And you can make our words into whatever feeling state you want to make them, which is all part of mindset.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Do you want to start off with the quote from Tony Robbins?
I sure do. So Tony Robbins says 80% of success is mindset and 20% is strategy and mechanics. 80-20. And I guarantee that most of you watching have it flipped and think that 80% of success is knowing the strategy and the mechanics, and that maybe 20% is mindset.
Yeah. So let's just maybe do a check-in and be honest. And there's zero judgment. I was not okay last week. I was not. I had a solid therapy session on Saturday. Saturday? Nope, Friday. I messaged my life coach therapist person on Wednesday when I was not okay at all. And I said, I need to process through what I'm feeling. And so we had the session on Friday, which I had to figure out what this season had in store for me, because I operate under the belief that everything happens for me, not to me. And because none of this is within my control, I felt very helpless. And I
Yeah.
felt very out of control, and I don't like that feeling.
Yep.
And so I'm curious, how are you feeling right now? Like, I needed to first identify how I was actually feeling so that I could then understand what this season was going to do for me and what it was meant to show me. And I was able to, within 45 minutes, because I've gotten very good at this process, understand why this is here for me. It's different for you, it's different for Laura, but for me, why this is. So I would love to know, put in the comments, let's have some engagement here, help us out. How are you feeling about this? Try and label the feeling, right? Label the feeling. Don't just say I'm overwhelmed, like, yes, but try and go a little bit deeper, like label the feeling. There is no judgment. And it would be a good step in the right direction for you to be able to label how it is that you're feeling. So I'm going to just ask for that in the comments. And so why we decided to talk about this today is because we are obviously, all of our feelings are all over the place,
Yep.
right? And we want you to consider that how you feel will show up as a response in your business. Do you want to maybe give some examples of what that looks like before we give you the 2 strategies?
Yeah, totally. So here's the thing. I have to back it up a little bit because I process feelings, I think, differently than you do and differently than other people do. To me, feelings are data, right? Like feelings are data, and it's neither here nor there. It's like, oh, I feel like this. What does that mean? Okay, cool. What can I do with that? So my brain is a little bit different when it comes to these things, but what I see and what I know I've done in the past before I was able to separate it out that way is that if you attach feelings to all of your decisions and all of the things that happen, especially within your business, and you use those feelings to then decide, how you feel, how you act about what is going to happen from that, you are very quickly going to spiral into a place where you're no longer taking facts and data and reality and making solid decisions based on business metrics and things that you know to be true. And instead, you're creating stories around things that happen to you. And you're taking those stories and you're projecting them into every single facet of your business. So let's say, you're working on creating a signature program right now, and you're feeling frustrated and defeated and sad. And then if you cannot learn to solidify your mindset and bulletproof that self-worth that you all have, you're going to then take those feelings and project that into the program you're creating. And now all of a sudden your program's not good enough, and you can't get the work done, and you're overwhelmed, and you're telling yourself a story based on a feeling from something else that you're now projecting into other areas, which is really dangerous. It's really dangerous because it will sabotage you every time.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I want to give a personal example, and this actually played out for me last week. So on Wednesday of last week, it was not a good day. And this idea came into my mind that because this is how trauma and feelings work, right? And so I, for whatever reason, felt like I had reverted back to 2012, where it was me and my two kids, and they were babies, and I was by myself, and I didn't have anyone else to help me, and we were alone, and I was hustling to make it work, and I was like working so hard, and it felt like I was brought right back to 2012. And I was like, well, okay, that was a time in my life I never want to repeat, because it was no fun, right? It was no fun. And it wasn't like the mindset was, wow, look how far I've come. It was, holy shit, I'm right back there. And it really got to me. And it was like I've forgotten that 2012 was 8 years ago, that my business isn't any way resembling what that was. But because feelings are feelings and mindset is mindset, I very quickly got back into that scarcity sort of like very, what's the word I was looking for? Like, very fear-based thinking.
Yes.
Hence the trigger to call the therapist. And so had I stayed in that feeling, I would have been very reactionary into the business. I would have called an emergency meeting on Thursday, and I would have been like, oh my God, we're not making enough money and we're losing sales, and I have to throw out an offer, and I have to do this and I have to do that, and it's all going to shit, and everything I built I'm gonna fucking lose, and the world's coming to an end. Had I stayed in that feeling space, that's what would have happened. I would have reacted to that feeling and made a catastrophic error, not based on data, not based on truth, not based on any sound fundamental business principles that I know that work. I would have reacted to the feeling of fear based on something that happened to me in 2012. And I would have stressed my team out, because they would have been like, okay, oh my God, she's freaking out, we need to do this, because that's how this works. And shit would have gone off the rails so fast, right? And that's a very, first of all, personal, second of all, very real example of how one instance has the potential to derail you completely. So another example would be, you send out more emails than normal promoting an offer, and people unsubscribe.
Yes.
And because you have issues where you need everybody to like you, and I'm assuming, right? And your self-worth is so tied to people liking your content and engaging with you, that those unsubscribes have the potential to then throw you back into this feeling state of, I'm not good enough, my content isn't good enough, I can't really help people, and none of this is going to work, and my sister-in-law Sheila was completely right, and I shouldn't have done this in the first place.
And let's just go a little bit further on that. That's just a story you told yourself, right? So people unsubscribe, you send out emails. To me, one of the key things you have to nail is understanding stories we tell ourselves and being able to separate them. So people unsubscribe, you're telling yourself a story that your content's not good, that they unsubscribe because you're annoying, that they're telling everybody
that you were too salesy and they didn't like it. These are assumptions
That's a story
that you're making. So let's extrapolate on that. Yeah. So the two strategies we want to give you specifically are going to help you when you get into a feeling state that you get triggered by, when you do an action that triggers a feeling state that then has the potential to knock you off course, right? We need to go back to the data, and we need to stop, and we need to say, and this is a strategy, okay? You need to say, is there truth to this? Is there evidence of this? Or am I making an assumption based on feelings that I'm having? Or am I making a decision based on what the data is telling me? Right? And so the specific example of the unsubscribes, does it feel shitty when people unsubscribe? Absolutely. Can you assume that people are unsubscribing because you did something out of the norm and you sent more emails than usual that were promoting a product? Can you make that assumption? Sure, you can. But how do you know that they didn't unsubscribe because what you said actually triggered them and they couldn't face it anymore?
Yeah.
How do you know that that's not actually what happened? Right?
Or they unsubscribe because they shouldn't have been on your list in the first place, and you're sending emails and they're like, oh, no, I don't have this problem that she's talking about. Oh, no, I don't need these, which is a great thing because it's opening up space for the people who do need you on your list.
More often than not, why people unsubscribe are for those two reasons. Either because you triggered them and they're not in a stage of readiness to accept what you're giving them. And so it's triggering for them, making them feel bad, and they unsubscribe to stop that pain. Right? Or they're not your ideal client, in which case, great. Right? But when somebody unsubscribes, without you taking a beat, you then attach your own worth to that unsubscribe. And then you go into this like tizzy where my emails aren't good, they're not working, people are unsubscribing, I must be doing something wrong. How do you know that?
The story.
You don't know that, right? So the better way to handle it would be maybe to reach out to those people and ask them for feedback that's constructive. Hey, I'm genuinely wondering, I am interested in improvement and growth. I noticed you unsubscribed. Do you mind answering these 5 questions so that I can have a better understanding of how to improve my communication, my education, and my content? And then you have data points.
Love it. Love data points.
And then you have data points to actually get better versus spiral downwards into this low self-worth place based off of probably stuff that you haven't worked through. Right?
Yeah.
Amanda's saying never thought of it. It makes total sense as they are unsubscribing because they're not ready. It can trigger. Yeah. That's probably why. Right? We have a very high unsubscribe rate. Like, it's ridiculous, you guys. Like, my unsubscribes are very high. And I don't care at all. Like, zero feelings attached to it. I'm not focused on those people. You subscribe to my email list because I created a free piece of content that I sincerely hope you got value from. And if you are not interested in sticking around, I wish you nothing but the best of success. I'm only interested in the people who are willing to commit to growth. And you either aren't in a state ready for that, or I'm not right for you, or you're not my ideal client. So in which case, please do me a favor, unsubscribe. Because also by you staying on my list and not opening emails actually costs me money.
And let's just go back to something you just said, because it was so good. I'm not choosing to focus on those people, right? Yeah. The choice is you can focus on the things that propel you forward, or you can focus on the things that are going on that are maybe not the things propelling you forward. Example, unsubscribes. That's not propelling you forward, focusing on those people.
Right. So the first strategy was collect data.
Yes.
Pause before making assumptions. If you feel like you've offended, if you feel like you've been too salesy, if you feel like you've been too pushy, ask, right? Because that's leadership. That's growth. You spending any amount of time wondering or assuming or feeling bad, that's fixed mindset. That's scarcity. That's fear. That's not going to get you anywhere. If you are legit here for growth and mastery and playing up and living up to your potential, don't you want to actually know why they unsubscribed? or why they canceled, or why, you know, they've booked a call 3 times and have rescheduled every time. So here's what happens when that happens, based on literally stories that we've seen our clients go through.
Yep.
Is you go into fear that you're never going to be able to make a sale. And the reason, most probably the reason that that person canceled and rescheduled, is because they're so stuck in fear that they want to do it, and then they're like, oh shit, I can't
Can't do it.
and then they cancel, and then they're like, I really need to, and so they reschedule, and then their readiness, their stage of readiness changes again, and then they cancel. They're not doing it because you did anything wrong. So leadership, growth, expertise, experience, go in and help them. Be like, hey, I've noticed that you've canceled 3 times. I'm going to make some assumptions here. You tell me if this is correct. And if I'm not correct, I'd love to know what's happening for you that you keep going in this cycle.
Yeah.
Be the leader.
Yes.
Right? Be the leader
So
here.
good.
Like, step up and be the leader. And this is where, like, I could come across as bitchy. So I'm just having that awareness.
Warning.
Be the leader instead of so wrapped up in your own ego and your own low self-worth that you are making every single fucking business thing about you. Oof. Stop doing that. Yeah. Stop it. It's not helpful. That's what gives you adrenal fatigue.
We know this. We know
right?
this.
Like, that's what gives you adrenal fatigue, because working 16 hours in a better feeling state, in flow, in creativity, that's not what gives you adrenal fatigue.
Nope.
It's attaching meaning based on your own stuff to every single thing that happens in your business. That's what burns you out.
It's exhausting. That's exhausting.
Because it's exhausting, right? It's not working 16 hours. Listen, we all know what in the flow feels like. There's no way that working in the flow could burn you out.
Nope. It feels great. It energizes you.
Yep. It's energizing. So with that being said, with so much love, right? Yeah, stop making this about your ego. It's exhausting. It is. It is. So strategy number 1, take a pause, collect the data, right? Collect the data. Strategy number 2, stop making every single thing that happens in your business about your level of competency and effectiveness and self-worth. It's not about you. It's never about you. It's always about the other person. And if you do feel like you messed up, if you do feel like you did something to cause pain to someone else, ask. Be the leader. Step up. Ask. Hey, you know what? I think what I said was offside, or could have been taken as insensitive. I'm just checking in. Did you I'm just checking in because I saw that you unsubscribed. So I'm here for growth. I'm here. I'm checking in because you canceled your call. I'm checking in because I followed up with you a couple of times and I haven't heard back. Right? So be the leader. Be like, this is what true in service is. Right? Yeah. What if they want to work with me but feel it's too expensive, so they cancel? That's an objection. That's you improving your sales skills and your ability to hold the authority and work through the problem. Money is never the issue. I mean, listen, and there's obviously outliers where legitimately that they should not actually put this money towards working with you at this time. But in my experience in doing this for 20 years, if there's a will, there's a way. Yeah. Period.
Agree.
And so that's you actually improving your sales skills. That's all that is. Yeah. Right? Their decision that it's too expensive, or your decision that it's too expensive, comes down to you not having the ability to properly position yourself from the start and having a solid sales structure and flexible payment plans.
Yep.
It's nothing more than a regular objection during COVID or not.
Yep.
So those are the two strategies that we have for you, because with these, in the season that we're in, it is very, very easy to allow the feelings to overtake sound business strategies and fundamentals and actual truths based on data. It's very easy to, because we're already exhausted, we're already traumatized because of what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to then attach meaning to things that happen in the business because our defenses are already weakened.
Yeah.
It's true, right? Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I think I just want to reiterate too, like right now, and this is true in, I think, any business, you're going to have more small failures, especially at the beginning, than you will have successes. Things will not work. Tech will not work. People will not buy. People will not show up. All of those things will happen more often than like somebody just saying yes and paying in full, or somebody sending you an email to say, hey, your content's really good. I really appreciate what you're putting out into the world.
Here's
right?
my
Like,
credit card number. Please
here's
sign
my
me up.
CC. I just, whatever you're doing, I'm part of it. Like that doesn't happen at the beginning. So if you aren't able to do what we just talked about and you're attaching your self-worth and your emotions to every single thing, the bad, if you take it that way instead of as a learning, is going to outweigh the good, and you will drown. You will drown in these feelings of I'm not good enough and my stuff is not good and I don't know how to do this and I'm never going to be successful. And that is what separates out the people who are successful, right? The ability to not do that.
And I want to just extrapolate on that one thing. Your stuff might need improvement. You might genuinely need to improve your content, your sales skills, your marketing, your customer service. Most likely that is true.
Yes.
Right? Especially if you're within the first 2 years,
yes.
You are just starting. So you will always be improving. This is the phase of business that you're in. You are in the development phase. I am not in the development phase anymore. Right? And so we now, when something is broken, we fix it. Yeah. Right? But I am no longer in that phase. And so right now you are in that phase where you are developing things from scratch. Yes. And so I need you to know that, right? That's why it likely feels this way, is because you haven't achieved mastery in anything yet, right? In working with clients, in creating marketing content, in sales, in any of that. And so again, it goes back to intention. If your intention is to achieve mastery, if your intention is to have impact, if your intention is to genuinely shift away from having a fixed mindset into having a growth mindset, then it goes back to the first strategy of like, okay, I'm going to put something out there. I'm just learning. Instead of attaching self-worth and assumptions to it, let me go look at the data points because I'm just learning. I'm just learning. I'm in the R&D stages of my business. I'm in research and development.
Yes.
Right? And
yes.
Until you have consistency in anything, consistency in lead gen, consistency in booking calls, consistency in sales, consistency in delivery, consistency month after month after month, I would say for 6 months straight, you're in R&D. And anytime you add anything new into your business, it's R&D. So if you put out a new offer, it's R&D. If I put out a new offer right now, right? Yeah. Something that I've never sold before, I'm not going to expect to knock it out of the park. Am I going to expect a certain level of success? Yes, but it's R&D. And if it flops, well, I have some data. Why did it flop? I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. I'm going to research. I'm going to learn. Okay, so the next time I do it, like 2 weeks later or a month later, it's going to be better. And it's R&D until I can get it to a place where it's consistently running the way that I want. And that's how this works. It's R&D, right? And so there's no need to attach feelings to R&D. It's just research and development. and use the data, right? And if you're
Yeah.
like, oh, how do I get better? How do I do that? And you want to genuinely learn, you want to make an investment into that education, we can help you with that. We can, right? But the point of today was to give you some insight into how to navigate, first of all of the extra feelings that are happening right now, and how to move forward without making every single thing more dramatic and traumatizing and negative than it is.
Yeah.
Because it's exhausting and we're already so tired from having to navigate this situation. So,
Yep.
hope that helps. Hope that helps. It comes from genuinely wanting you to not struggle as much.
Yes.
It genuinely comes from reading and watching and feeling and being like, oh, please don't attach meaning to that. Oh, please don't make that about you. Oh, it's just data, you guys. It's just data. Like, you're missing the point of it. When you attach, ooh, this is good. When you attach the meaning, when you attach your own self-worth, you actually miss the lesson. You miss the data. You miss the R&D. You miss it.
Then it's a failure. Then it's actually a failure. That's when it goes wrong.
Right?
Yep. That's
OMG.
it. That's it. You are not failing forward anymore when you do that.
That's good.
So good.
Jeez, that's so good. Oh, we're just going to stop talking.
We're done.
We're done. Because that is the freaking point. All right. Well, happy Monday.
Bye.
Happy Monday, you guys. For real, for real. This is about growth, even when it's hard. That's it. We hope that you have a wonderful day. We will be back tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Bye.